So hey, welcome to another video. In this video today I'm going to be covering how I make bass lines in 2024. I have a new method and I'm going to break it down to you how exactly I make my bass lines for all my music that I've been producing lately. And this is a workflow that I think will be very helpful to you because bass is everything in your track. If your bass line is really solid and is really good, especially the relationship between the bass and your drums, if that is really good, then your track will be a surefire track that you can release and everything will come out great. So I have a track over here that I was producing, and I just made sure that I produced the overall idea of the track to get to a good point so that I can start to introduce the bass. Don't add your bass after you've added like 50 instruments and then you want to start adding bass. What if the bass doesn't really work well, but then you put in all that work and now you have to scrap the beat? That's just demoralizing. But for me, I like to figure out the bass like before I even go too far in the track, so that I can listen to the drums that I have in my bass, so that I can make sure that the track sounds good, so that my drums and my bass are sounding solid, so that we do what we do. Right now we have log drum. People are doing crazy stuff with log drum when it comes to amapiano and all styles that use log drum in their music. Like for me, I'm also using log drum as well. And then you can talk about 808s. 808s in terms of hip-hop music, like trap music and drill, people are doing crazy stuff with it. So bass is super important, and how you use it is going to be super important in your tracks for the tracks to be a success. So here's the track that I have here without any bass or anything like that. So it sounds like this. So it's a really cool idea of a beat. I like how the drums are going, and I like how every other instrument is going on. Everything just sounds super good. And all these drums that I used in this track, you can find them in the link down below, so you can use the same sounds that I use all the time here on my channel if you want to also have these cool drums and loops and everything that I use. Before we go on, make sure to subscribe and make sure to like this video because I'm going to drop some gems. I'm really going to drop some gems today. Okay, so the first thing I like to do, the first kind of bass that I like to add into my track, because I add two basses in my tracks nowadays, I like to add a sustained bass. This is a bass that I like to add that is more sustained. It doesn't have too many notes that are doing too much. It's just a sustaining, really like low end heavy bass that is not short notes. It's sustained bass. That's the bass I like to add in first. So what I like to do to a track like this is I like to add something maybe like a Reese bass, like in the style of a Reese bass. You remember Reese basses that a lot of songs by Drake used to have? I'm not sure if he uses the same kinds of Reese basses right now, but Drake always used to have like a Reese bass when he was doing that kind of R&B style hip hop that he did back in the day. So that's the kind of bass you want to look for. So for me in this track, I loaded up a bass called the breaking bass. So I found this preset in Alchemy. This is what this bass sounds like. And I make sure that this sound has a glide to it. So you can see as I move from a low note to a high note, there's a glide there. So what you want to do is, in whatever plugin you're going to pick the bass from, you must make sure that the glide is turned on. So you just have to find where the glide switch is and just add a little bit of glide so that it works well. So you can see here there's a glide here. So you can just turn up the glide here by voices. So you hear how it's gliding like that. So you just have to make sure that the timing is correct, because you don't want your glide time to be too high or too low. You want it to just be in the sweet spot, so play around with it. Let me just lower this one down. So it's taking a little bit too long. I'm just going to drop it down like this. That sounds right about good, but you can play around with your glide time so that you make sure that it's good. Now, the next thing that I usually like to do is make sure that I find the root note of the bass itself. So I like to play the track and then I, play around on my keyboard to find the root note. Okay, so I found the root note of this track. It is D. So I know that if I press D on my keyboard anywhere in the track, I won't be out of key. So that's my root note. So I know that my bass is going to start on this note, and then I can play around going up. And another thing that I also want to add is the fact that most of us now have MIDI keyboards, right? Most of us have these MIDI keyboards. So if you're bass hunting and you're trying to figure out a bass, I would say rather than just draw in your basses, try and play with your hands. You have a MIDI keyboard. You know, even if you're using the keyboard on your computer, I have a video on how to do that, how to set that up. Even if you just want to use that, that'll be much easier for you to quickly find your bass and play a little bit of a bass line. You know, it'll be much quicker than drawing and figuring out notes and drawing, because you want to work fast, because you know you're on the clock, you're on time right here. So I'm gonna try and play a bass and find a bass that I can play that I like, and then I'll show you what kind of bass I come up with. So I come up with this bass. So it's a simple bass. So you can see what the bass looks like here is just simple notes that I loaded up here. So this is what the bass sounds like right here on this track. Just like that. So it's just going like from low notes, and then it goes up, like you see here how the notes are looking like. It's coming from this note here, and then it goes up like that, up like that. So what I did is, yes, I did say that I'm going to start on a D, but it just didn't work for the bass line that I was trying. So I just had to, you know, play around. Remember, all these are not like rules that I'm placing on you, but it's just ideas to give you a place to start to building, you know, whatever you want to build. So you can always just listen to what it sounds like and then just move from there. So this is what my bass line is sounding like. So it's just going up like that, super simple, nothing too complicated. So it's just 4 notes, that's it. And then the next bass, which is the very important bass, is the bass that's gonna give the track a lot of groove that it didn't have. So this is just a vibe, you know, just trying to build up to the second section. So when it comes to this bass, you must make sure that it's like a really powerful but short bass. They don't need to be like too many notes, like long notes. For me, I like to start with a log drum. A log drum is really cool because you can do so much with a log drum, but you can always pick whatever preset you like. You don't have to follow the same presets that everyone uses or the presets that I use, and also tweak your bass. So I created a bass line with the log drum here, and I know it looks really busy because when it comes to this second style of bass, you want to make sure that it's super dynamic. It's keeping the groove going, and it's got a lot of bounce, and it's really interesting because this bass line is coming at a place where the whole track is stripped down. There's not a lot of elements still playing, and then it's just the bass line and the groove just going like that. You know, it's something really crazy. Just listen to how the whole track transitions into this section. So I'm going to play starting from here. That sounds super fire. That sounds really dope, right? I really like what I did with this bass line. And then the next thing that I would do if I have a bass line like this is I create variations of the same bass. So all I just do is just make new copies of that same bass, and then with each instant, with each instance, yeah, that's instance, right? With each instance, I make sure that the bass sounds different so that whenever it comes in, I can always just change it at different sections to sound different. So what I have here is I have like 3 types of log drum that sound different. So remember, the first one sounds like this. Let me just loop around here. That's the first one, and then the second one sounds like this. And then here's the third one. So you see how different these are. Let me know down below which one sounds the best to you, which one you like, the style of log drum that I added here. So these are 3 log drum styles of bass that I added to this track that just sound super different. And I can play around with them, like, you know, cue them in and take them out as much as I can. So you can see now I have 4 bassline elements in this track. So I have the Reese bass, well, the sustained bass at the first one that I showed you, and then I have the other 3 that I showed you at the end, which are the log drum and different sounding log drums that I can always just play around with it. So this track has a huge amount of bass that sounds really good. But anyways, I can't wait to hear what you guys will try. Let me know what your process in terms of making bass down below, and show me, you know, how you make your bass, and let everybody know how you make your bass. If you have any tips you want to share with the community, make sure to drop them down below. If you're new here, subscribe, and also check out the links down below if you want to support the channel or grab you some goodies for your music production. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you find value in this video. I'll check you in my next one. I'm X and I'm out. Peace.